Are you the Pam the president was referring to? That single question froze the room, because it wasn't about a name. It was about whether justice answers to the law or to a post on social media. And in that moment, the credibility of the Department of Justice was on trial.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, FISA Section 702 will expire in 6 months. In response to my questions for the record, at your confirmation hearing, you said you did not have experience with FISA, but if confirmed, you would consult with experts at DOJ. Now you've had that opportunity. Do you support adding additional safeguards for searching Americans' communications in the 702 database?
Senator, Section 702 is a vital source of foreign intelligence and instrumental in keeping Americans safe. We also take individuals' rights of their individual rights of all Americans very seriously. And many statutory reforms to FISA have incorporate safeguards. They have to incorporate safeguards to protect our civil liberties. The Department of Justice looks forward to working with you to discuss anything regarding 702.
Appreciate that.
I believe my staff, and Senator, I also want to thank you for this hearing. Your staff met with my staff, and I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you. We're going to be working on 702, so I appreciate the openness to further amending 702. At your confirmation hearing, you assured me that it is the Department of Justice's decision to determine what cases will be prosecuted. Last month, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia was forced out. President Trump then posted the message behind me asking about prosecuting James Comey. You then appointed a new U.S. attorney who within days secured an indictment against James Comey. That social media post behind me saying, "What about Comey?" was directed to Pam. Are you the Pam that the president was referring to?
I'm sure I was.
So it's very clear to me that when the president posts something like that, that he considers the DOJ to be his law firm and you his lawyer. And in fact, very shortly after the post to you, Comey gets indicted. Last year, President Trump's new now border czar, Tom Homan, was videotaped taking a bag with $50,000 in cash from undercover FBI agents after suggesting he could help with government contracts. Sounds like a bribe. 2 weeks ago, DOJ officials reportedly shut down the bribery investigation into Mr. Homan. Ms. Bondi, did you approve closing the Homan bribery investigation?
Senator Hirono, as I stated earlier, the Department of Justice and the FBI conducted a thorough review, and they found no credible evidence of any wrongdoing. You were also on video outside the White House protesting with a group called CASA, where Antifa members were. Does that mean you're a member of Antifa?
You know, I simply asked the question as to whether or not you approve the shutting down of the investigation of Mr. Homan. I have to assume that you did because the FBI reports to you. But the American people would look at the situation where this person is taking a $50,000 in cash, no less, and you testified today that a thorough investigation was done. Now, I have to conclude that since no wrongdoing was determined, that in answer to Senator Whitehouse's question, he kept the money. And I hope that he put that on his tax returns as income. Next question. Over 1,200 rioters were convicted of charges related to January 6th. President Trump has since pardoned nearly all of them. As if that weren't enough, last month there were reports that a lawyer for the January 6th rioters met with senior DOJ officials. about setting up a compensation fund like the one that Congress set up after 9/11 to compensate these rioters. Ms. Bondi, is anyone at DOJ considering setting up a compensation fund for January 6th rioters? Yes or no?
Senator, I have had no meetings or discussions about a fund.
So would you support such a fund? Would you okay such a fund?
Senator, you can send me the information on the fund and I'd be happy to look at it.
The Senate exchange between Kash Patel and Senator Schiff raises serious concerns about political influence within the FBI and the broader integrity of federal law enforcement. Central to the discussion was whether FBI agents were pressured or threatened due to their involvement in investigations related to President Trump. Patel repeatedly denied telling employees that their jobs depended on case assignments, asserting that all terminations were performance-based. While legally defensible, these denials invite skepticism because of historical instances where political appointees have influenced law enforcement to protect partisan interests. Schiff's persistent questioning underscores the chilling effect perceived political pressure can have on career professionals and highlights the critical need for an independent, nonpartisan FBI, where investigations are conducted according to law and evidence rather than political loyalty. Maintaining such independence is not only procedural, but essential for public democracy. When career professionals fear that political considerations may override legal judgment, the integrity of investigations is compromised, creating the potential for selective enforcement and unequal justice. The hearing also addressed Jeffrey Epstein's files and the infamous Black Book. Patel confirmed FBI custody and emphasized its public release, yet Schiff pressed on whether transparency was complete and whether politically connected individuals were shielded from scrutiny. Procedural compliance alone cannot assure the public that investigative outcomes were unbiased. Victims like Virginia Giuffre have provided testimony that appears to conflict with official findings, highlighting gaps between prosecutorial discretion, legal determinations, and lived experiences. From a liberal perspective, oversight must ensure that no individual, regardless of status, is insulated from accountability, reinforcing the principle that justice must be impartial and accessible to all. The public deserves clear, comprehensible explanations for investigative choices, particularly in cases involving high-profile figures with significant social and political influence. Questions about Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony and subsequent prison placement raised additional ethical concerns. Patel attributed her transfer to the Bureau of Prisons while denying involvement in daily decisions. While technically accurate, this deflection fails to address public trust. Decisions perceived as arbitrary or lenient can erode confidence in the justice system and reinforce perceptions of favoritism. This tension between procedural compliance and ethical accountability emphasizes the need for public officials to ensure institutional decisions reflect fairness, transparency, and the gravity of offenses. Leaders have an ethical responsibility to demonstrate that the system prioritizes victims, upholds due process, and does not protect the powerful at the expense of justice. Without this, even technically lawful actions can appear morally questionable, damaging institutional credibility. Overall, the Schiff-Patel hearing illustrates how political actors in oversight roles can compromise institutional integrity. Patel's reliance on procedural shields may protect him legally, but it risks undermining public confidence. Political influence over personnel, investigations, or sensitive criminal matters undermines impartial justice. Schiff's questioning underscores the importance of transparency, accountability, and independent oversight. Citizens' faith in the FBI depends on the perception that investigations are objective, sensitive materials are handled responsibly, and officials act without political interference. Upholding these principles is essential for maintaining public trust, reinforcing democratic norms, protecting ethical governance, and ensuring that justice serves everyone equally, not just those with influence.